Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Now today's unboxing is different. Have any of you ever noticed that my track appears to be dirty? Now I say appears, well, let me tell you something very quickly before I turn the light on. A while ago I bought that lighting tower, yeah? Gorgeous light tower. And when I was spraying it in a room adjacent to the man cave. Now that room is for spraying stuff, but I'm supposed to shut the door first because it's a well ventilated room, and the door that I didn't shut leads directly to the man cave. And guess what happened? A very thin light film of spray paint, silver, ended up over everything that you can't see with the human eye, apart from my Scalextric track. Can you see that? You can actually see where cars that I've run on this track since I did that spray painting has been picking up some of that paint, leaving some of my cars with this on the tyres, which looks like dirty tyres, but it's not. It's the paint that will not dry, so every car I run on this track ends up with what looks like filthy tyres. Now that's a real problem. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. No, stop. No, we won't be calling the A-Team. We'll be calling
the Carrera Track Cleaning Truck.
Woohoo! People, this is the Carrera Track Cleaning Truck. You heard me. This bad boy will clean my track. Or will it? Because it clearly says Carrera Digital and I don't have a Carrera track. So I guess this video is going to be more useful than I thought. Because one, you're going to find out if you can run a Carrera Digital car on a Scalextric analog track. And two, will a truck designed by Carrera for Carrera clean a Scalextric track? Now thinking of it logically, I can't see why it shouldn't. However, there is a third point that I will need to address. Down there's a sticker saying you should not run this truck for more than 3 minutes. Right there, look. But if you look on that sticker, it's showing this truck towing a car. So that was what its original purpose was for. There's other models of this truck that can actually tow a car. But from what I can see on that contraption there, it looks as if this can also do that, but it's got that added thing there to clean your track. And let me not forget this, most importantly, the reason why it says do not run it for more than 3 minutes max is because of the magnets in it. Apparently there's more magnets on this vehicle than you can shake a stick at, which makes it really stick to the track like no one's business. So I have done my research, I've read a few things in forums, I've looked at a few videos, and everyone's saying remove all the magnets before running it because you might burn the motor out. Now, we'll see. I'm willing to sacrifice this baby to see if you really need to do that on a Scalextric track. I'm not saying the magnets are any different to any other car I've had, but we're just going to test things out, yeah? So, would you look at this beauty? Before I show you all the beautiful detail that Carrera has given you on this truck, let's just test that theory out right now about the magnets. Now obviously this is just my piece of display track. I'll actually show you naturally on the track, but I can show you this. As it is there like that, if I lift this up, it's not particularly grabbing onto the track. There's a tiny little bit of resistance. However, if I put a regular slot car on here, I'm going to lift it, yeah? It's trying to pick the track up. Watch carefully here. You see that? I'm now going to lift this up. Have a look at the bottom here that I showed you before. It barely moved. Let me do it again. Watch it carefully. Here. In fact, zoom in. Do you see that? It barely lifted the track. So I think what that sticker is telling me and what people are saying, you can only run this bad boy for 3 minutes if it's towing a car or cleaning the track. And this is where I'm going to demonstrate it now. So this bit here lowers down, and listen to how it snaps onto the track. Right? That is now stuck on the track. When I say stuck, what I mean is magnets. Yeah? Now, when it's going to clean the track, there's some material that Carrera provides you that you put on this. And you remember when I said I believe this can also tow a car, so it's dual purpose? I believe all you have to do is remove this section down on the bottom, and then it becomes a car towing truck. And now hopefully at this angle you can appreciate what I'm saying. Have a good look at that. In fact, zoom in. You can probably now appreciate that you can unclip that bottom section and just leave what looks like this metal section right here. If this is only going to be used to either tow other cars or clean your track, get rid of the magnets. However, like I said earlier, I'm not going to. I'm going to leave the magnets in, run it for less than 1 minute to clean the track, and hopefully you will see the difference when it's done, and hopefully the motor won't burn out. Because I would hate to think that Carrera would put a product out in the market knowing damn well the motor's going to burn out if you use it only for a minute or so. Surely they wouldn't do that. But then again, there's people out there with very large tracks and complex tracks, and maybe to run it around their track on both lanes, remember, because you've got to do it on both lanes eventually. If you want your track clean, maybe that does take more than 3 minutes on some of those bigger tracks I've seen on YouTube. So, we're going to run this on the track very shortly, but before I do it, can we just appreciate the quality of this build? I mean, for starters, if you were on a road and you saw this massive thing coming towards you with this massive, what is that? Is that supposed to be a bumper or something? But if that was coming towards you with that sort of almost like a hazard thing on there, the chevron, you'd want to move out the way. I'm absolutely loving the light rig that they've got on the top. How cool does that look? Oh my gosh. And then look, you've got a series of lights here. I don't know if those will light up, but I know for sure that will. And for sure, the headlights. Oh, by the way, can we appreciate the registration plate right there? I only just noticed this. It literally says clean. Nice. Better than that, clean one. And ooh, don't get me started on these wheels. These look very substantial. I mean, look at them. In fact, have a quick look on the bottom. How substantial do these bad boys look? Now, you've got to give it to Carrera for the way they've done the chrome work on this model. It looks absolutely stunning, and the livery is perfection. But the thing I want to show you the most are these sections. Look, you would be forgiven if you thought this was metal. But it's not. It's actually plastic, but they've designed it in such a way that to the eyes, it looks like delicious metal. And then here, look, loving the detail. I would suggest that that right there would be the controls for this section in the real world, if this was a real towing truck in the real world, or indeed a cleaning one. Yeah, controls there. And if you look on the other side, how cool is that? They've got a fire extinguisher. And what is that, a jerry can or something of that sort? I don't know. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. And I'm loving what they've done on the back. Not only can you see the rear windows at the back of the cabin, you've got the registration plate there again. I'm loving how this has been designed. It looks all very strong and sturdy. But the most important thing I need to show you is the back of the case. Because not only do you get the usual, your paperwork and 1 or 2 guide blades. In fact, I think you only get 1 guide blade in this, but not to fear, I have spare ones that are smaller that will fit this Carrera truck. But you also get some of these. I say some, you actually only get 2 of these. However, it's not a big deal. When these get dirty, you either wash them or you can just make your own. Get bits of cloth, make sure there's little slits either end. So you use this as a template to make more, if you see what I'm saying. And this is how it goes on here. Detach this lower section here from this chromy, metally looking thing. It's not metal, but we'll just call it that. Tell you what, instead of talking about it, let me actually do it. So I'm gonna try and detach it. It should be quite simple. Easy, see what I did there? You see these, the There's two little plastic bits either side there, look. I just got my thumb and my forefinger and just squeeze them together, and this thing comes right off. Now, as I have removed the base from this section here, can you now appreciate how this truck now becomes a tow truck? What actually goes in there is precisely nothing. It's made to look like that. However, what you're concentrating on is this gap, this section right here, because, yep, you've guessed it, the guide blade pops in there, and now
It's a bona fide tow truck.
right now, I've put the base on this piece of cloth, and can you see now where these little slits on either corner, they line up with these little posts, as it were, on the base? And there you go, simple as that, and then you reattach it. Right, you see that? Look, I haven't actually put it on there yet. I've just rested this part on top of it, and you simply just push it down on that so it all clips back into place. Excuse my arm. Simple as that. Okay, this bad boy is now ready to clean my Scalextric track, not Carrera, even though it's a Carrera track cleaner. Although I'm having second thoughts about something, because now that it's set up and ready to go, oh my gosh, the magnets in this section are really strong. I think I might take them out, I don't know, because literally it's really sticking to that track, and when I try and manually pull this along, look, it's taken the whole track along with it. The magnets are that strong. Ooh, should I risk? I said I was going to do it, innit? Oh, I don't know. Do you know what? I'll do it for the community, the slot car community. I'm going to run this bad boy with all magnets intact and see if it really does burn out. I'm just going to follow the instructions not to run it for more than 3 minutes at a time. Wish me luck, here goes. Right, taking one for the team. Oh, hell no. I gotta take some magnets out. Right, so I'm in the process, back in the studio, I'm in the process of removing these screws here because there's a magnet in there, I believe. Yep, there it is. I'm taking that out. That was easy. Let me try it again now that there are no magnets in here. Okay, it moves a lot more freely and it's not dragging the track. Come on, back to Mike's Tech and Toys and Slot Cars Highway.
I love it when a plan comes together, because I wasn't sure if this was even going to work on my track because it's a digital truck from Carrera and I have an analog Scalextric track. So now we know that makes no difference. But let me come clean, full disclosure. When I first started filming this, it didn't work. The reason being, you know my other Carrera cars, one of them kept going backwards until I flicked the switch underneath. Well, this one, it didn't do anything until I flicked the switch underneath. So keep that in mind if you do go for one of these and you're a Scalextric track owner, specifically an analog track. And remember I was saying I didn't think the smaller little 5 lights in front of the main light on top, I didn't think those would actually work. Well, they don't. But what I love about this unit is that the main lighting rig on the top, the way that flashes it makes the smaller 5 ones look like they are working too. Look, brilliant. And don't get me started on those awesome headlights. Anyway, back to the studio. Did it clean the track? Well, let's have a look on that cloth.
This thing is filthy, so it definitely did do some cleaning on the track. I am very impressed. The only thing I will say, it would have been nice if they gave you a bit more than just 2 bits of cloth. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, not bad, it did clean the track, but, you know, I could only see dirt there and there. So does that mean here didn't touch the track? Au contraire, it did. Maybe that part of the track wasn't as dirty, because here's the other cloth that I have not used yet. Look at the difference between the two. You can tell that this bad boy did a very good job. Yes, I approve. So again, yes, it can run on a Scalextric track, even though it's a digital truck. Yes, the cleaning system works beautifully on the truck. Yes, I recommend you remove the magnets in this cleaning section here. It runs much better. Maybe put a little bit of weight on there, like a ring. Oh, and if you're wondering why she's there with the fire extinguisher, well, in my little childish mind, just in case this blew up.
Stop it!